Okay, 3, 2, 1. The general sort of basic underlying thesis of my body of work was I was very tired of trying to be the smart artist and the genius artist and coming up with really brilliant, clever ideas all the time. That was a lot of pressure, it was very stressful, and often wound up being quite counterproductive to my work. I'll stand over here so you can get this in the background too. Anyway, so it often sort of shortcutted the art-making process. And I figured out that basically I was saying a lot of things about art that I wasn't putting into my own practice, about painting quick and not evaluating how good or bad your ideas are, just making a lot of work, and then the good work will eventually separate itself from the bad work, and that's okay. It's okay to make a lot of bad work. So, hence this, I don't know, vomitus of work. Anyway, so basically, I determined that any idea was as good as any other idea as the basis to start a piece. So any little thing in my sketchbook was worthy of becoming an entire painting. And hence what these things come out. That's why, one of the reasons they're very sketchy. Okay, and then to backtrack, this is going to get edited. Anyway. Any idea as good as any other. Okay, so the hitch is, when any idea is as good as any other idea, well, you got a lot of ideas. I mean, really, if you don't stop to throw out the stupid ones, you have a lot of ideas. So another thing that's really important when you have a lot of ideas and you're not worrying about which ones are stupid and which ones are good, is you got to make a lot of them. Because you can't select. I don't want to select and separate better ones from worse ones. So they all need to get addressed. So consequently, I know up in the show right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, only 6 paintings. But I have maybe 40 or 50 of these things, and some are better than others. Some are worse than others. That's okay. That's good. In addition to this lack of selection process, I really wanted to be able to, in some way, display gobs and gobs of these paintings, because, like I said, there are about 40 or 50 of them. So, consequently, this piece on the center wall, that's over here, I'm changing out every day. Actually, I'm technically changing it out Tuesday through Friday. And so every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday morning, there's a new painting up. The one that goes up on Friday is up all weekend, so that one people get to see more of. Anyway, so consequently, you'll see all these holes from the previous paintings and all of these labels from the previous paintings. It was really important to me. I wanted people to know that they were missing something. I wanted people to, hopefully, I don't know how well they're doing it. I haven't been interviewing people, but hopefully they've been figuring out that there's a new piece every day. The labels are dated, and there's lots of holes. I don't know how well it's working. I suppose I should find out. And the next thing is, this particular painting is called Are You on My Shit List? And this painting got that title this morning because I realized it didn't actually print up a label for this painting, so I had to change the title of it to a label I already had made called Are You on My Shit List, which was actually another painting, but I decided to give it this one instead. So, but what I had to do is I had to draw on it to make it fit, so I had to put this little piece of paper that you probably can't see in the video, but it's a little piece of paper in the duck's mouth that says shit list, and then it's got some people's names like Calvin and Hobbes and Boris Yeltsin and the White Stripes. So I had to adjust that to fit it. It's a really bad thing to do, is to like draw on a piece in a museum while it's up, but I've never really been very good at following the rules of art. Well, that's not true. I used to be very good at it, but now I'm not. Any questions? Let's see. Come on, give me a question.
Why do you think it's important not to select?
Well, why do I think it's important not to select? For me, at this point, it's not important to select. I've always acknowledged that some of these paintings may wind up being better than others. And I am starting to see which ones do truly separate themselves. But for the purpose of this art-making experience at this moment in time, I don't want to do that. In time, the better ones will separate from the worse ones. Does that answer your question? I don't know. Kinda? Let me talk about these two paintings in particular. This painting that seems like the academically properly thing to do. This painting is called Mary Baker Eddy Slips and Falls on the Ice, Discovering Christian Science. I was raised a Christian Scientist, which is much different than Scientology. And my friend David Babcock, who's also on this video thing, you can click on his video thing and see him too. He makes a lot of work inspired by his Mormon faith. And so, well, I figured it was about time I made a religious painting about my church that I was raised in. And so, well, Mary Baker Eddy discovered Christian Science when she slipped and fell on the ice, got really, really hurt, read the Bible, and was healed. Well, this is how I'm addressing that topic of Mary Baker Eddy slipping and falling on the ice. And members of that church it might be considered quite blasphemous. I don't know. I don't really worry about those things. But all these every religion, like, there's this iconography, and Christian Science is very, very minimal on its iconography. Like, there's no symbol, there is no imagery, except the mother church, like the first church. That doesn't make any sense. So anyway, here's the very first painting an artist has done of Mary Baker Eddy slipping and falling on the ice. And then this one up here, which is these two cowboys in a duel. One is the Law. You can see it says Law on his badge. And the other one is a quasi-representation of me. So it's sort of me against the law. And this one is called No, I'm Not Skinny, I Eat Well and Exercise. So this is the stupid inspiration of how often I get accused of being skinny. I mean, I don't know if I'm skinny or not. That's not really the point. I eat well, and I exercise a lot, and I eat a lot of food. So anyway, so this guy, he's shooting a turkey leg at me because I need to eat more. And so my response is, you're a douchebag, I eat lots. Bang. I also kind of like the purple. Somebody wise once told me. I could keep going, but I don't feel like I should because, yeah. Why paint? That's a good question, and I talked about this before. I'm really glad you remembered. I'll go over here, so maybe this might be more exciting. Why paint? Okay. I gotta ask, this is getting edited?
Yes.
Okay, so like these moments will be cut out. That's my question. Okay. Because that's like that was all I could think of right now is like, is this gonna get cut out? All right. Okay, so back to the important thing. Why paint? Okay. So I was talking about generating a lot of these things. And it actually would be quicker if I were to just draw on paper these subjects. And I thought about that, and I wrestled with that idea a lot as to why not drawings. But I was still really attached to the paint for some reason. And it took me a while to figure out why. And the reason was quite simple, but I guess maybe controversial to some people. Anyway, with a drawing, you never question blank paper. I could make this exact same piece on a piece of paper with black charcoal, and nobody would ever be bothered by the fact that the background is white, because it's paper. We're used to that. That's an acceptable construct. And so, but in painting, oh my gosh, you're leaving the primer showing. That's the white background. That's like a big deal, and I don't understand why that's not okay in painting, why that's okay in drawing. And basically it's because the intellectual construct, the intellectual precedent has already been set. And I guess I don't agree with that precedent. I think it's kind of stupid. Yeah, that answers that question.
What can you tell us about your tattoo?
My tattoo? It's the color wheel. Sometimes I hate it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I wish it was here, sometimes I wish it was gone. I have other tattoos as well, but They're a little more personal. Zach?
What's your favorite rule to break today?
Oh, I guess my favorite rule to break is the preciousness and genius, and the concept of masterpiece is kind of my rule to break for today, and that's one I like to break a lot. The masterpiece talks, this refinement and perfection, and this is the penultimate piece of my career, the masterpiece. And so I'm going completely against that by basically using the crappiest wood I can find, the cheapest wood I can find, things I pull out of the trash. This is somebody's leftover sheetrock. It's not even cut well on the side. This painting doesn't even have primer on it. It's just pre-laminated with some sort of plastic stuff that is probably really bad to make a painting out of. It's not archival. Okay. Thanks, kids. See you next week on Sesame Street.